Now we're going to cover everything in the Geometry tab located right here in one video because it's so very simple. A lot of this doesn't even function unless you have another plugin installed. For instance, focal length and focal distance are functions of the viewpoint panel. Now they will work, especially focusing distance works, but I've experimented with this thing and for the life of me I can't see the benefit of it. Now, if you look at the explanation, the little question mark up here, it says focusing distance lets you specify the actual focusing distance when it was recorded in the EXIF data with insufficient precision to ensure that automatic corrections are accurate. Now, it doesn't tell you how those insufficient precisions are arrived at or what the process is or when that insufficiency is going to be demonstrated. It just tells you a statement without any clarification whatsoever or even any instructions as to how to invoke it. So I'm at a loss, I have to admit. Same thing for the focal length. It's basically the same kind of adjustment. Now, you can adjust the focusing distance, and it does respond. So let's just, for the sake of conversation, come up here to 200%, and I'm going to put this right on Bridal Veil Fall in Yosemite, and you can immediately see that this image is in very good focus. It doesn't need any correction yet. Let's go ahead and see what happens. And if we take this and go all the way to 60 meters, I don't see any difference. For the life of me, I do not see any difference whatsoever. If I go the opposite direction all the way, I don't see any difference. So your guess is as good as mine as to what this is. Now, if we take a look at the metadata over here, we show that it was 45 millimeter was the focal length. So let's take, this is completely grayed out, and I don't even know how to activate it. I have no idea how to use this feature. Focusing distance, same thing. The focusing distance, now the focal length is listed here of the lens, but it doesn't say anything about how far from the camera to this waterfall, how far that is, the focusing distance. So we're theoretically supposed to be able to micro adjust that setting, but when I, invoke this slider, I don't see any change in the image whatsoever. So if you can figure it out, more power to you, but I'm not having much luck. And I can't find any documentation for it online. I've been all over the DxO website. I've been all over Google, and nothing comes up. So whatever. Now, the Horizon tool, number 3 on the list, is covered up here in the toolbar. And we went over how this works in the video of the toolbar. But just for the sake of making sure you do understand how this works, I'm going to go ahead and demonstrate this again. So let's go ahead and click on this, and then I'm going to take this and put it right here, and then I'm going to take this other one and put it right here, and then if I hit enter, it automatically adjusts the horizon. Now I can fine-tune it by simply going back and forth with this slider if I want to, so that's available. You can kind of rotate the image with this slider over here. So there's the Horizon tool. Now the crop tool is definitely covered up here when I did the lesson on the toolbar up here. This little icon right here is the crop tool. Everybody knows how to use a crop tool, I'm assuming. Distortion is based on the DxO module. Don't touch this, because if you have the module installed, that's all you need. That's what it's for. It's what the DxO module is for, is to correct the pincushion and barrel distortion. However, if for some reason you want to adjust it manually on your own, you may do so. And for the life of me, I cannot figure out why you would ever want to do that. Now, on the perspective tool right here, now this does bear some attention. I think this is where we're going to focus most of our attention. I'm going to go to another directory to show you. Now, if you're in real estate, more than likely you are going to be taking interior shots of your properties, and you're going to want to know how to get rid of the perspective distortion. Now there's one that has been corrected, and I want to do 2 here that do need correction, and we're going to use one process on this image and another process on this image. So let's start right here, and we'll come up to customize, and we will come down here and we'll click on this little item right here. This is the rectangle correction tool, and you'll notice it has 1, 2, 3 nodes on it. And this shower door here, I think, is a good way to demonstrate how this works. I'm going to take corner number 1, put it right here. I'm going to take corner number 2, put it right here. But I want to make sure these lines between 1 and 2 are lined up with the parallel structure of the image. And I'm going to take this one and see how that kind of goes up like that a little bit. You got to get that line in this area right here. You want to make sure that these are parallel with the image, with the source of the image. All right, so you come over here and notice how we're going to raise it up so that this is parallel at the top and parallel along the sides. Now, notice when we, set those points that they are definitely out of correction, but if we hit return, everything squares up, and now you've got a nice image of your bathroom with no perspective distortion. Now, let's take the bedroom over here in the next image, and I'm going to instead use the parallel lines. I'm going to click on that. Now, I do have 4 right here, but they're not connected. They're parallel. That's why they're called parallel lines. And you take the one and put it up here, and put the other one down here on the bedpost. Take the other one, put it right here. Take this one and put it down to make sure it's parallel with those items in the image that need correcting. Now you'll notice this one is adjusted more severely than this one, and that's why it works, is because even though this side of the image might not be as distorted as this side of the image, once you set all these lines up, then you'll get a good result. In fact, what I think I want to do is take this one over here and I'll line it up on the shadow, because it definitely is leaning more than this one is. So you got more of a lean here than you do over here. Go ahead and hit enter, and voila, you've got a balanced perspective on the bedroom, which is, what you need. Let's do one more just for giggles. Now this one is the finished product right here, and this one was the one that we worked on. So let's go ahead and click on these and find an edge. And then right here, and notice that these lines between the 2 points are parallel with items in the image. Right there, and then I'm going to take this one and I'm going to put it up here. Grab this 4th one and put it right there. Notice how it's lined up level. And then you simply let go, hit enter, and voila, you've got a balanced image from a perspective standpoint. So there's how to use the perspective tool. Everything in the geometry tab. Some of it's confusing, some of it, I can't find any documentation on, so I have no idea how it's used. If you can find it, more power to you. Please get in touch with me and let me know what you find. But that's how to use the geometry tab in DxO PhotoLab.